I'm ready for
And,
the questions. God knows that's all I do.
and just to let you all know, she already told me in advance, like, Jazz, I'm putting it all out there. Nothing is off limits. Ask me whatever you want. So when you
I
told me
know.
that,
I
I'm
had
like, okay,
anxiety
well, we're going to
last
go
night.
there.
My scorpionic energy went into full mode like around 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, oh my God, I don't like to reveal it all. I'm like, oh dear God, what is she going to ask me? But she's a Scorpio, so she knows how to tread.
Yep,
I'm like, I'll be all right.
Yep. And I was just like, we're fellow Scorpios here, so you already
Yes.
know how we do. We
Yes.
get up all in the grill, all up in your business, all up in your
But don't
business.
get in our business. But don't get in our business, that's for sure.
Margot, we got to shout out Margot.
Yes.
Margot is a mutual friend of ours, and she actually connected us. And so I was talking to Margot about my podcast, Faith Works, and I was just saying to her, like, I want to book someone, and do you know anyone I could book? And she was like, J. Ray would be amazing. She, is a spiritual healer. She works with J-Lo. I want to connect you guys. Long story short, we got on FaceTime, and we were talking about something random, but then, honey, all of a sudden, I did not ask J. Ray for a reading. Let me make that very clear. I normally don't even do readings. I don't, not that there's anything wrong with it. It's just something that I don't often do. But I was just talking to her because what I loved about you when we first had our conversation was your relationship with God. Okay. And I know that God is in you. And that was pretty evident from the first time that we connected, even via text. You know, because I could feel energy, even if it's via text. Energy is real, can be read in any way. And so we're on the phone, we're on FaceTime, and she's like, there's a man, letter R. Does that mean anything to you? All of a sudden, I just started crying. She's like, wait a minute. Like, I'm so sorry. I'm like, are you at work? She's like, wait, I didn't say anything. Else. He's just that he's here, and he really wants me to talk to you. And I'm like, letter R, I know who that is. So my father, for those of you that know me and followed me, passed away in 2009. It was very traumatic. I kind of talked about this yesterday, and he was missing. And I've been a daddy's girl, and my parents and I, and even my siblings, were all super close. So it was really hard. And so the fact that he was missing and we had to have a closed casket funeral, I never felt like I was able to say goodbye. And that's something that sat with me, that's been on my heart forever, So when you connected with me, and the one thing she said, and mind you, we don't know each other, nothing. She was like, he's grateful for the flowers. I started crying. I was like, oh my God. Because I buy flowers for him because I don't go to the cemetery.
And I didn't know that. I just heard him say, she'll know it's me when she said, when you say, I'm grateful for the flowers. And that was all. And they sometimes they only have a little message. I think people, if it's okay if I can talk, I can explain a little bit about mediumship. I think people have a misconception that the dead can basically predict their future. And that's not true. The dead is really people that have crossed over, and energy still exists here. Their energy is expansive, right? It expands. So there's no way of saying they only hold that body at that moment in time. They're forever living, they're forever breathing, they're forever moving along. So when I connect to them, it's just basically a different energy or a different frequency. It's like I tune the radio in to a different frequency that I'm able to connect and hear and listen very clearly and what they're saying and how they're saying it. But they're not here to predict your future. They're not here to do any of those things. They're here to let you know that your relationship with them here on earth is just as important now as it is then, as it's always going to be. And that's what they're here to do. They're not here to basically say what's going to happen with your husband or your boyfriend or when you're going to get married, because that's not up to them. That's up to God.
Right.
They're still under the covenant of God. And God
and I just knew, so that's when I realized this is official. She ain't no game. No. She is seriously good at what she does. Hi, BX Queen Carmen. Wow. Yes. But I'm just grateful for that. So I wanted to give you guys a background of how we connected. But we're going to go into this real quickly. So let's get into this. All right. So first of all, let's go straight into titles. You don't like to be called a psychic. That's something that's completely against. And you instead prefer to be called a spiritual healer or a spiritual counselor. So tell us why.
So psychic has such a horrible preconceived notion of somebody who basically wears a turban and has a crystal ball in their hand and basically walks around and just scares the shit out of you. That's not me. I'm not. And as much as I know, as much as I can see what's going to happen down the road, because some things are predestined, predetermined, and I can kind of get a good idea based on your faith.
Okay.
And your belief that things will go a certain way, right? Things will go a certain way, and that you'll stay on that path. But then there's also free will. So psychic is kind of like this word of that I can predict the future.
Yes.
And I think that's a really horrible thing to put on someone to make them think they can do something. And I never felt I could.
It's a lot of pressure.
Yeah, it's a lot of pressure, and it just doesn't sound good. It just doesn't sound good. Just like the N-word don't sound good. Just like certain other things, for me, it don't sound good. And it's so crazy because every single person that introduced me is like, well, she's a psychic, but she's really not. You can't call her that because they don't know how to introduce me. And most of my sisters and faith sisters and things like that, they always say to their Christian friends or their Catholic friends, she's not what you think she is. You're using the word title as psychic, and you're thinking she's wearing a turban and a crystal ball, and that's not what she is. We still have not been able to find the word that suits me best. So I think that the best way to describe it is I'm just a God-fearing woman who just is able to poke into, who's telepathic and multidimensional and omnipresent. And can basically decipher energy in a way that most people can't, if that makes any sense. I'm not saying I'm the best. There's a bunch of people like me. Some people have tuned in, some people are tuned out. It really depends. But I know for myself, I do not predict the future. I can basically guide you to it. Guide you to the future.
Well, we're going to put some respect on your name and go with spiritual healer. Okay.
Thank you very much. I love that because I really do feel I heal people more than I do anything else.
Okay. Yeah. Now, let's go right into this also because you're a big believer in God, which is something we talk a lot about. So I want you to explain to everyone, because people know that you are a God-fearing woman, but they don't really know too much about your relationship with God. So let's hear a little bit about that.
So my relationship with God has always been since birth. I don't know anything else. God to me is my father first. God was my actual father. Then I have my earth father, Raymond, and then who passed. And then I have, my people around me or whatever. But God has always been my father. He's always been, because God's a very jealous God. You know what I'm saying?
He sure is.
He's a very jealous man. And
very jealous God.
Put anyone before him. So I always know that instinctively since I was a child. I was raised Catholic.
Okay.
So now you go into Catholicism. Now you reach a whole different.
That's hardcore.
Now my inner belief is already being questioned when you hit Catholicism and you start to hit 5 and 6 and 7 years old. You make your communion, you make your confirmation, because now you're being told that God is only like this or God is only like that. And I've only known my God to be my right hand, my father, my person. I could go to about anything. I could do about anything. And now we're being conditioned. You can't say that. You can't do this. You can't do that. And it's like, wait a minute, that doesn't sound right. It doesn't feel right to me. So it was a lot of confusion as a child. And then the confusion came in when I would listen to the priest, or I would listen to certain people or the nuns or whoever, and they would say to me that confessional's only on Sundays, or you can only do this on certain days. I'm thinking, I talk to God all day, every day.
Like 24/7.
Like the specific days of the week. Like, what are you talking? He's in the room. He's always here. It confused me. And then what confused me were the saints. That you can't pray to the dead. You can't speak to the dead. You can't do anything but speak to the dead ones that we believe are the ones that are with God. And it's like, well, aren't they all with God? Like, I was confused. It was a very confusing time for me. And I didn't have anyone to talk to about it.
Right,
So I remember I went to my one priest, Father Suarez, and he said to me, Jennifer, you're just as ordained and you're just as mighty as anyone else, and if that's how you feel and that's what you believe is you, then stick by that. Keep it to yourself, because unfortunately everyone's not going to understand you, but I believe you.
Right.
I believe you. We all have our own relationship with God. And I'm like,
I love it.
Do you believe he talks to me? And he's like, I know he talks to you. Only there's certain words you use that I know he talks to you.
Now we're about to go there.
Okay, go ahead. I'm ready.
Are you ready for this? We're about to go.
Yes, I'm only drinking water. This is not vodka.
Take a sip of water. So you mentioned you were raised Catholic. I'm a Christian. And as a Christian, and a lot of believers out there as well will know this.
Yes.
When it comes to going to church and Christianity, being a spiritual advisor, reading tarot, seeing the future, they say that's not an act of God, and it's a sin to read people. How do you feel about that?
Okay, so I think that's a very egotistical man-made illusion that has been created for fear-based. It's fear-based. Okay, it's all about the fear, because what about if she knows something and I don't want to reveal that about myself? How dare she know something about me that I don't want her to know? That's my business. That's my door. It's shut. That's why I don't intrude in anyone's lives. As far as if you want to know, I will tell you. But I am not going to walk up to you and just decide to talk to you.
Okay.
That's not how this works.
That's
okay?
respectful.
Deuteronomy. Oh boy, Deuteronomy. Okay, so there's a whole big thing with Deuteronomy, because I feel as though that the people that they're talking about in Deuteronomy can just be a man who's evil based, a person whose intention is negative, a person who acts like a snake, a person who charms individuals in believing that they hold this godly like image. Okay. I don't charm anyone. I'm not holding anyone up to my standards. I'm not placing myself on an altar.
You're not telling people to pay $150 or $500 for a curse to be removed?
Well, this is another thing. The tethering type, things of that nature, that really gets my goat a little bit, because I feel like at the end of the day, if you're working for God, you will live in a shack. Mm-hmm. You will live in a shack and be happy living in a shack. You understand? And worrying about how you're going to pay your rent every month before you will take anything from someone and falsify yourself into believing that that's that person. I just started charging probably 5 or 6 years ago consistently.
Okay.
Consistently. I've been doing this since I'm a child.
Yeah.
Consistently charging. And even now I have clients that are billionaires and they're like, you do not charge enough for what you do. But I said, I'm not here just for you. I'm here for the people. I'm here for what they can afford. That God will take care of the rest. God will put the roof over my head. God will put the car under my ass. God will do everything that he has to do. God will take care of the rest. Yep. All I have to do is believe and have faith and work for the people, help the people, heal the people, make people understand that I exist. All God wants to know is that he exists. He's like, just make sure they know I exist. Just that's all I ask of you. Just please beacon when I cannot beacon. Yeah. And no one else will notice me, but they'll notice you.
Yeah, absolutely.
They'll notice you.
And that's what he wants.
That's what he wants. He needs someone who's going to be okay with being put on a cross, because God knows I've been on a few crosses already, and being stone thrown and deal with it. I am that person. I have no problem doing that. I believe in it that much.
I love that. Now, we just got a comment from Millie Almodovar. I did have this in my questions, but for later on. But I guess we'll jump into it. So we want to know about J-Lo, because obviously you work with J-Lo. So how did you start working with J-Lo? How long you've been working with her as well?
So J-Lo and I have probably known each other about 7 years now. Her production company was looking for kind of a Long Island medium type person. And I fit the bill. And like I said, this is where you know God does everything. The production company that was called upon to find a person like myself, found me on a flyer off Google when he Googled
God be knowing.
God be knowing. He Googled F.J. Denny and Greg Guglielmo. They literally typed in psychic medium. Wow. That's all they wrote in. Psychic medium. For some particular reason, my flyer from something I was doing at Wild 94 popped up. He saw my picture and he went, I have to get a hold of her. He got a hold of me. California's calling. I'm hanging up on him. He's like, hi, my name is F.J. Denny. I'm calling on behalf of New Eurekan Productions and blah, blah, blah. And we would like to talk to you about doing a TV show. I said, oh, please, go scratch your ass. And hung up. Calls me back, calls Janet Scialis, the Star Goddess, who put me on the radio. And she's like, Hollywood's calling, sweetie, and you keep hanging up.
Hello, you better answer.
And then one thing led into another, and before you knew it, he had me on a plane, and I was meeting Jennifer, and she was like, I want that girl at my house right now. And that's how it happens.
That's
and we've
incredible.
Been friends ever since.
And I love the friendship that you have with her, to the point where she shouted you out at the MTV Awards. And you were at the Super Bowl.
Yes.
And so you're always around, and she does consider you a friend. So how often do you give her readings?
It's never a reading for us. It's more of just girlfriend conversation.
Oh, I love that.
It's girlfriend conversation. You know, I'm the girlfriend. you know, I'm the person you call, just like all my girlfriends do. Like they want to, you know, go ahead and vent, whatever, you know, and I'm that person. So when she calls, I'm just like, I'm just a girlfriend who's just having a conversation. And because her belief is so strong and my belief is so strong, the two of us together could be a little bit combustible.
Dance to Mark Anthony.
Yeah. Well, she does. I can shake my ass. She does a little bit better than I do, because I got a lot more in my trunk. But she does it a little bit better than I do. But she has just been a beautiful soul for me and for her, and we really do. And I'm very private about our relationship because she's my friend.
Absolutely.
And just like most of my friends, I don't shout out my friends all the time or put their business in the streets. I'm just not that person. You're never gonna ever hear our, you know, about it.
And that makes you a really good friend.
Yeah, you know? She wants to mention something, that's on her or anybody else for that matter.
Okay.
And I'll never deny it, but I'll never speak on it, if that makes any sense.
But on the low, can you tell us, did you know she was going to meet A-Rod?
On the low, you know, there was definitely that moment, that girlfriend moment where it's like, you know what? Hold out, there's someone else coming. You know what I'm saying? So, but that's become, you know, one of my very best friends just said recently, she's like, sometimes I just want my friend Jen. I don't want J-Ray. And I'm like, well, they're the same freaking person. And she goes, so I said, and then if I don't say anything, then my face expressions say everything. And then she's like, I know anyway. I said, then what are you asking me? We're two different people. I am who I am.
Yeah, you are.
So, yeah. So I am who I am. I can't not be who I am.
All right. I love that. Okay, so we're going to go back to the beginning and like your childhood. Because I want to know from you, how old were you when you discovered your gifts to see the future?
Once I hit kindergarten. Once I hit kindergarten, I realized the kids
what was
were not
the experience and the encounter that you remember?
My first encounter was my kindergarten teacher was Miss Fishman, and from PS 22, Staten Island, New York, and I said to her that her mother was in the room with her, like she was at the chalkboard, and I saw her dead mother sitting at her desk. So I said to my best friend Teresa Ryan, who she's still my best friend, by the way, and I said to her, you know, Miss Fishman's mom is here. That's so cool. And she's like, there's no
wow.
And then Miss Fishman was like, what are you two chatting about? You know, obviously I was getting in trouble because I was always talking. And I said, oh, your mommy's here. Like I was innocent. Next thing you know, she was like, what are you talking about? So I went a little loony, went to Mr. Selznick, which was my principal. And he's like, what's going on? Called my mother. My mother's like, what did I tell you? I told you not to do this. I told you not to mention these things. She thought that I think my mother thought it would stop once I was around other kids. I think she thought that I was kind of having my playmate kind of thing in my room. And
like an imaginary friend.
Like an imaginary friend. And then when I hit kindergarten, I think she started to realize, like, these are not imaginary friends.
That's so early.
Yes.
That's so early.
And she was terrified of it. My mother came from a side of the family where they did a lot of bruja work and things like that. So she was like, because I get it from both sides of my family, by the way. And I'm the only child of my mother and father. So my father's side of the family has it, and so does my mother's. So I was this perfect storm of energy that they didn't know how to deal with me. They did not know how to deal with me at all.
Wow. Yeah. So I want to talk about when we were having our conversation before, you mentioned to me, you know, that you kept calling, you said God kept calling you when you were a kid. And there were people in your family, specifically an aunt, that was jealous of your gift. What was that like for you, being so young?
Well, it was confusing. It was very confusing because I knew I possessed something. I just didn't know what it was. It was like kind of, you know, carrying a gift that you didn't know you were carrying. Like you're holding something and everybody wants it. So you're having it close to your chest because you're like, you don't know what they want. Why do they want it so badly? Because in my world, I'm thinking, why do you want to be up all night listening to dead people chatter? Like, why would you want that? Like, who would want such a thing? And I realized how much power it held. It held power in the world of their world, where I can tell people things and they can charge for it, and they could somehow put fear behind it and say, if you don't pay me or you don't do as she says, then something else bad will happen to you, which is bullshit, by the way. So there was this whole other energy behind it, but I didn't have any way of, I just knew it was wrong. I just didn't know what about it was wrong, if that makes any sense, until I got older. Yeah, until I got older. Yeah, then I was like, okay, something's not right here. Yeah. Something's not right here. I'm not supposed to be doing this. Like, I'm not supposed to be doing these things. Like, there's something wrong here. Like, and so, but God protected me the whole time. The whole time. God had my back the whole time. Like, I got you. Like, do it, you know, because I was a child. I was young. I didn't know. What was I supposed to know?
Right.
You know, but I knew it was wrong. I knew whatever was wrong.
You knew it was wrong, and I'm so happy that you were wise enough to know, you
know,
good.
But I didn't know why it was
good and
wrong.
bad.
Right. Because it's family. You're thinking, okay, this is the right thing to do. You know what I'm saying? So you don't really question it.
Right.
You know?
And being so young, you're innocent and vulnerable, you know?
Right.
So
and my
I'm
mother
happy
really didn't know
God
either.
was able to lead you and communicate with you to
Yes.
give you clarity to know that this is not the right thing.
Like, you're not supposed to be doing this, baby girl, but you know what? I'm here for you because you're in a pickle.
Yeah.
You know, you're kind of betraying two eggs right now that I can't get you out of.
Right.
Because that's the humans. You know, they were using me and pillaging me in a way that I shouldn't be. So it was difficult. It was not an easy. Having this gift my whole life has never been easy. It's always just been a constant, heavy knowing of things that I want to tell people, but I hear God saying, don't tell them because it's going to take them off their path. They need to find me on their own, guide them to me, and I'll take the rest of the way. And then you're confused whether is that your job to say something? Is it job not to say something? And then it becomes, you have to balance it out, and it's a process. 46 years on this earth, and I can honestly say I've owned my gift the last 2 years or so.
Okay, honestly, 46, looking good.
Owned it. Yeah, owned it.
That's good. That's good. All right, so I was talking to you the other day about the conversations you've been having with God and writing them down as notes since 2013. Yes. And so J. Ray actually sent me one. Thank you. I was really honored about that. And also, I just want to thank you for even this conversation and having this interview.
Well, God said you're it. So I listened. God said you're it. I said, okay, she's it.
You were so persistent about it. And I'm telling you guys, I have not met J. Ray. We've just been communicating like this. Yes. And she was
which I do with most of my fans and clients. They don't get to meet me in person. Not many people get to meet me in person. Wow. It's something that people don't realize. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. So back to these conversations and these notes you were taking. One of the things that kind of like made me want to know a little bit more in your notes was this line right here that you said. You said you've seen a lot of miracles happen before your eyes, and you've seen a lot of evil happen before your eyes. And no matter what, God was still there holding your hand and getting you through it. So explain that storm to us.
So the storm of evil versus good, or good versus evil, which is the balance of the universe, by the way. God made the devil. So he uses the devil just like he uses anyone else to do something necessary to get us to wherever we need to go. So he'll put the wrong person in your life to get things right.
Wow.
That makes sense?
Wow, that's deep right there.
Yeah, he will put the wrong person in your life to get things right with you and to get things right with him real quick. Fall on your knees, as he says. Bow to me, come to me. And once I do, I will change it all. I will resurrect, I will restore you. I will bring you to the greater pastures. I will make you who you want to be. But you have to let me be there. You have to let me do it.
Yeah.
And that's when you have to use the devil sometimes to bring the wrong person into your life for you to find God again.
Wow.
Yeah. It's very important to know that.
Wow.
So I would say that the evil that I've seen probably before my eyes has probably just been negative intentions, people that don't do, how can I say this without being judged? Because it's not judgment. It's just, you know, I've seen a lot of evil work right in front of me. I don't know how else to say it, that I knew they were evil and I knew God was placing them there for a reason. And there was nothing I can do about it besides watch. Just watch and watch it all unfold.
And be still.
Be obedient and be still.
Be obedient.
And be obedient. And it was a lot for me to be quiet. It was a lot for me to, you know, but I knew there was a lesson here.
Yeah.
And it happened to my own children. Don't get me wrong. My own daughter, everybody. It happens to every one of us.
Yeah.
Every one of us. God has to find.
We do. We all experience that.
We all experience the moment. We go, what were we thinking? We were so off. You know what I mean? Where was I? Who were in God's school at the time, baby girl. You were all locked up in there. And then God said, okay, it's time to let you out. And that's when you were like, I'm free from it all. But you are free, but you're always guided. You understand? So that's where I find that the miracles I've seen happen, I'm a miracle, you're a miracle, we're all miracles. We made it here, so we're all miracles. But the miracles I've seen happen was my child being born. I've seen miracles happen right before my eyes where I've watched someone go from not being able to get pregnant to God helping them get pregnant and creating miracles there. I've just seen so many things. I wouldn't even know how to begin. I just know that miracles, and the way I describe a miracle is the easiest way for me to ever, that God explained it to me. He said, there is man's law and then there's God's law. And God's law will always supersede man's law. And that's when miracles occur. It's when you think it's the impossible, God makes it possible. That is miracle in itself. It's
like in the movie The Shack, which, by the way, you know, I had to reference it. So J. Ray gave me some homework. It was like, you have to watch The Shack. I
give all my clients homework. They're like, Jennifer, you tell me to do J. Ray, I want to kill you sometimes because now it's on my head and I got to go do it and I don't know what to do. I have rehearsals, I have this, I have that. I'm like, go do your homework. Yes.
But in The Shack, what I love is just talking about, you know, miracles and like the difference between good and evil. One of the scenes in the movie that made me realize, you know, how powerful, you know, God's love is for us. And sometimes when we're in the storm, we don't realize that he's in the storm with us because we feel alone, you know. A lot of times when we're going through right now with COVID and us being quarantined and staying home, you know, we feel like, where is God? And those moments where we start to check out and say, you know what, forget about this. Like, why am I praying to God and God is not here? Like in the movie The Shack, the moments we wanted to give up were the moments when God showed up. Because how many times did he want to take his own life and God sent the messenger?
God sent the messenger.
And sent someone to protect him.
I've been that messenger for many, so I do understand. I have pulled many people out of dark holes of life, many people out of the dark energy of what they consider to be, you know, the heartache of their world or the heartache of their life or the fact that they can never see their life ever again without a certain person or a certain situation. I've counseled people that have lost children, people, places, all sorts of things. And I always say, if there is an end, there is a new beginning.
The Shack, by the way, because someone wants to know what's the name of the movie again.
The movie's The Shack.
The Shack is the name of the movie.
And what I think The Shack does very, very well is it takes the emphasis off God, where people are like, well, if God's around, then why is all this evil in the world? If God is around, why is there babies getting killed or babies being born with diseases or whatever it may be? And like in the movie, when she says, because God's a woman in the movie, which is really
Octavia Spencer, by the way, guys.
Exactly. But did you notice when she said in the kitchen, and I don't know if you noticed this, or this is stuff that I pay attention to. That's why I like to watch the movie with my friends or with my people, because I know certain parts that they're not hearing that I can hear. Okay? When she said to Mackenzie in the kitchen, and he says, "You're a woman," and she goes, "After everything you've been through with a man, I thought a woman would be best to suit you at this time in your life." Because he was so distrusting of men.
He was.
Because of his father and the abuse of his father, he would never have seen God as a man. He would have saw him as anger. He would have never allowed. But because he lost his mother so young and he was looking for that mother, God became a woman for him and said, "I know I can be this for you right now." That's how merciful and intelligent God is. He will send the appropriate person for you to see that's not going to trigger you, that's going to love you and that's going to embrace you so that you can get over this part of your life, whatever it may be.
Let's just give glory to God for that, for giving us guidance and guiding our steps. And being there for us and sending people love, blessings, even in this matter right now, which I want to talk to you about because someone said something about Corona. And I was doing my research and going through your Instagram page. You posted a video in December last year. And in this video that you posted,
God, this is where my heart goes.
In this video that you posted, you talked about the importance of love. and you talked about the importance of us being with our family and spending time with our friends. These were your last words in December of 2019. And
yes,
you
I know.
said, yes, and you said, you know, when moving into 2020, we have to spend more time with our family and with our friends and focus on love and be less materialistic. So can you kind of tell me, because as I was watching your video, I'm like, did she kind of know that we were going to face a pandemic? Like, what? I don't know if it was just a coincidence, but talk about that.
Well, there are no coincidences in God's world, just so you know.
I was trying to keep it cute.
Do I have a sixth sense? Do I did I know that there was going to be a pandemic? I would say I didn't know it was going to be called a pandemic, but I knew that there was a major shift in consciousness that was going to have to bring us all back to God. And that I knew I would beacon that. I knew I was. And I knew what my job was for 2020. And 21 and 22 and 23 and 24. And so on and so on. But I definitely got a message with my conversations with God, which happen on a frequent basis. And he said, I need you to restore children back to me. I need you to have them come back to me. I need my children to know that I am here and I am not failing them. They're failing themselves. They're failing themselves.
Are y'all listening to that?
Yeah, they're failing themselves. They're not finding me. They're not listening for me. They're not doing anything that's requiring me to be in their lives. They think they know it all. Remember, God's a very jealous God. So if you think you know it all, then
and when you're idolizing other people, that's when he has an issue with that.
Right, and that don't hold the same power as he has. Okay, the same mercy, the same grace that he holds. Right, he's going to put you. He's going to have you go have a seat. Do you know how many times God told me to go have a seat? He told the whole universe, have a seat, little girl. Everyone had to have a seat, and everyone had to be reintroduced to themselves. Be reintroduced to the world again. Be reintroduced to faith again. Be reintroduced to a multitude of things again. And the only way God was able to do that is to pull in the storm. Right? Because what happens in a beautiful, perfect storm, right? All the debris gets put up, and it all gets placed back perfectly. Correct? Yeah. So that's all he's doing.
Just like Noah in the ark.
And just like the ark. But at the same time, people say, well, how could you say that about a God? There's people dying. Remember, if you watch The Shack, God said, these are all my children. Some will stay and some will go. But they'll always be with me. Always. So wherever they may be.
So beautiful.
Wherever they may be, here or with me. They're always with me. So I don't... It's hard for me to look at anything negatively other than the fact that if you get to go home with God, then the earthbound individuals envy you.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, because I've been there. I know what it looks like. I know what it feels like. And it's the most amazing place in the... There is no English, Spanish, Latin word to describe the amounts of blissfulness, peace, other than the only way to maybe get to understand what that feels like to be with God. Did you ever like be on the couch and you just took like the best nap ever and you're like to the way you drooling and you wake up and you're like 7 hours just went by.
The crease is right here.
In your face and it's like you wake up and you realize you're home again and you're like, oh, but that was so good. Like, where was I? It was the best sleep of your life, like the best feeling in the world. And or the best way to describe being with God is like the feeling of falling in love. That blissful state, where you're just like you're singing and dancing and kind of like, la-di-da-da-da, like the sound of music, trailing through the, up and down the hills, it's just, the feeling is beyond anything you could possibly imagine.
Yeah. Amen to that. Yeah, amen to that.
Anything you could possibly imagine.
God's love is so real. All we have to do to receive it is call for him.
That's it.
It's just that simple. It's simple.
And be obedient, be consistent with it, and he'll be consistent with you.
Amen.
Listen, God don't want to be, listen, like anybody else, you don't want to be that best friend that's only called upon when shit gets real. He wants to know that when shit's good, you're still talking to me.
Right. And that's the relationship. That's what I want.
A relationship. You just said it. It's a relationship.
It's a relationship. And that's the message I'm trying to spread. It's a relationship. Just like any friendship you have with someone, you have to be there if you're a good friend during the good times and the bad times.
And the bad times.
And that's what it's with God.
Right.
You know, I pray to God when I'm happy, when I'm sad, and even when I'm angry. I have angry prayers. I pray to God.
Every time I ask God to sit down with me. Yeah. I sent you one of those. Yeah, I sent you one of those messages that I wrote to God, and I was like, "Listen, hello, like I'm not here being your freaking soldier. Like, today would be nice."
Yes.
And then I hear him say, "All right."
And then he'll be like, "Chill.
Give you a little grace today.
I'll
give you a little grace. No mercy today. A little grace today." And you're like, "Thank you."
Yes. So, J. Ray, one more thing I want to talk about in that note that you sent me is that you said God Mr. Miyagi you. And I love that because I have a friend that says that God is her G, you know? Yeah. And I love in the shack the little girl calls God Papa. So just like we're saying relationships, you can call God whatever you feel comfortable calling him. Yeah, you know,
call him
Mr. Miyagi you. So tell us why you do that.
So I call God Mr. Miyagi because, you know, it's kind of the Karate Kid, the paint the fence and wax on and wax off. When God puts you through trials and tribulations of life, right, he's basically teaching you how to have faith, right, how to believe, how to have faith. And even though you feel like you're going through the worst storm of your life, and even though you feel like the world is never ending and life is never going to be good and it's a shit storm and the world is whatever, God has Mr. Miyagi me in a way where I have probably encountered and endured more than most. I have dealt with failure. I have dealt with heartbreak. I have dealt with a child being born with a disability. I have dealt with divorce. My father was a heroin addict and a drug addict and was an amazing man, but that's what he was. Yeah. My mother was a young mother, didn't know how to really love, didn't know how to show love, came from a multitude of reasons to come out different. Maybe not come out as bright and light as I am, but maybe come out really dark, maybe addicted, maybe have other issues. You know what I'm saying? So the fact that God has given me the grace to be who I am today without any of those things, but other things I've had to endure. Endure way other more trials than you could possibly imagine through life. That a lot of people probably can never say they've ever dealt with or has experienced in my 46 years. I can tell you that for sure.
I love that. So
when he Mr. Miyagi me, he prepared me for the mission that he was having. He knew what he was doing with me. God always knows what he's doing with you, by the way. Just
he does. We're the ones that are chasing and forcing and so much pressure on ourselves. God already knows.
God already knew he had a mission for me. The moment I came out of my mother, he knew this one's going to be the wonder of the world. One of those 7 wonders, she's going to be one of them, and that's what her job is to do. But I'm going to make her a mother. I'm going to make her a sister. I'm going to make her a daughter. I'm going to make her a cousin. I'm going to make her a best friend. I'm going to make her all these different fascinating parts of being a woman, but I'm also going to give her the strength of a man, protector, a provider, because that's what I am. I'm a protector. I'm a provider. I do all those things. I'm going to make her a Scorpio. Hello. And I was born on my mother's birthday, by the way. Me and my mother had the same birthday. And I was born on my mother's 19th birthday. And I can honestly say that he did exactly that. He made me this mirage or this beautiful kind of kaleidoscope of energy so that I could attune to each and every walks of life. I can talk to each and every walks of life. I could help even every walks of life. I can do so many things. Sorry, my phone keeps going off, so I have to put it down because it's like, I could do so many things that people don't know that about me. And that's a lot of my past stuff, which people don't know a lot about me, which that's why we're talking to you today, because they don't know where I come from or where I came from and how do I know so much. Because I know so much because every time I heard God say to me, learn this, learn that, learn sacred geometry. I need you to learn my symbols. I need you to not be addicted to my symbols. Understand, I don't want you to idolize symbols. I just want you to understand them because we're going to be bringing things different ways to you. So the more you know, the easier it is for me to talk to you. And it's like, oh, I got to learn hieroglyphics today? Okay, great. Next thing you know, I'm well versed in hieroglyphics. Today I have to learn Judaism. I'm well versed in Judaism because God wants to speak to me with different people and different walks of life. And if I don't know what that means, it's not going to be helpful. So I had to know certain things in life.
I love that. So good. Yeah. All right. So I want to talk about you being a mom because you're a mom of 3, right?
Yes.
So being a mom of 3 kids, I need to know from your children's perspective, what's it like having a mom that can see things? Does that, does it keep them from like lying to you? Is it difficult? Is it a blessing? Or
they still lie. Are you kidding me? Oh, please. Come on. Really? And then they lie to me, and then they think, the best part of it is when they lie to me and they think they're getting away with it, and I let them think they're getting away with it. But then the next day I'm like, so how was your friend's house last night? And they're like,
really?
And they're like, I didn't go to my friend's house last night. I said, oh no, you went to your friend's house last night. How was it? And they're like, why do you know everything? You make things so hard. I don't want to be a child of a psychic mom. It's horrible. I can't even live a normal life. Oh, they have no idea. Oh, whatever. But then they love me when they're like, their girlfriends would come over and then they're like, Mom, can you pull out the cards? Because my friend's having a difficult time with her boyfriend. And I'm like, oh, now all of a sudden I'm the cool mom. Got it. I wasn't a cool mom when I actually cleaned your bedroom and I told you to go, scratch your ass. I wasn't a cool mom.
Right. I love that. It's so good. Shout out to everybody on this live right now.
Yes.
There's so many people on here. We are loving you.
Thank you.
Shout out to Zanita, La Morenita. To all you guys, perspective is everything.
Yes.
I want to show you guys some love because you're really
you're in here. You're in here
right now.
Yes.
So blessings to all of you. You
know,
and Natalia, I pray that God, keeps you safe during this pandemic. Keep your head up. But I want to continue.
Diane Delaney, how are you, baby?
We got some more questions, but I just want to take a minute to just thank everybody right now.
Yes, absolutely. and I love that because I always say thank you for everything. God knows. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. You all are a blessing. It may seem so small just going on a live, but it's so big. You add so much. And I'm just grateful. My heart is so warm right now. So thank you to all of you.
I'm enjoying this more than I think I realized. I was a little nervous, but I'm good now.
Oh, good. I'm loving it too.
But just to add to the children part, all my children are gifted.
Wow.
They're all master numbers. My son is a 9. One daughter's 11, and my other daughter's a master 33. They all have the gift. All 3 of my children. My son is great. My son Keith and my daughter Olivia are both mediums, like myself. My daughter Olivia refuses to deal with it. She's like, yeah, no, not for me. Not ready. She's not ready yet. She has to step into her power. She's not ready for that yet. She's 22. She's like, yeah, not really. My son Keith is autistic, which makes him even more, what's the word? Even more clear when it comes to what he hears.
More sensitive to it. I think
more sensitive.
More,
And my youngest is a true healer, just like me. She heals with her words. She heals with her energy. She heals people with her insight, her wisdom, her natural innate wisdom. She's a natural born teacher at 20.
I love that.
And she guides all her friends. All her friends call her for everything. Like,
really?
And I hear her on the phone and it sounds like me. And I'm like, oh my God. Because then I'm like, by the way, you should have said. She's like, don't tell me, Mom. I have to learn on my own. And I'm like, all right, yeah, right.
That's great.
That's
really good. But if she does decide to want to learn a little bit more about her gift, at least she has you to guide her.
Yes, and I didn't have anyone.
And you didn't have that.
No.
So that's the blessing, So you're able to kind of reverse, what happened.
And I have to reverse, but not be too overbearing either. Like it's almost like I don't want them to do this this is not an easy job. Just so you know, this was not what I woke up in the world to be.
I don't think that would be an easy job.
I want to be a hairdresser and a manicurist, which I was for a very long time.
Wow,
I wanted to stay-at-home mom and just kind of just do hair and nails and chill and do readings in my kitchen and cook dinner. That's what I wanted to do. God was like, I got other plans for you, kid. That's not going to work. So I'm going to dismantle your marriage. I'm going to get you divorced. I'm going to make you do things you don't want to do. I'm going to throw you on live radio. I'm going to have you meet this woman, Janet Cialis. She's going to tell you what. I had no say. Every single time I woke up in the morning, I'm like, I'm not doing it today. I'm not reading the phone would ring and there would be the tears.
But that's how God works.
That's how God works. And it was like a muscle. He was like, we're going to work that muscle, girl. You're not listening to me. I'm going to work that muscle.
When he wants you to do something, he wants you to do it.
Do it. And when I say do it, I'm talking about do it. Like, dismantle your life. Like, he will bring you to your knees. You're like, all right, mercy. I get it. Let me up. I got it.
Now, speaking of that, like, you know, God being persistent and being, you know, such a good father to us, making sure that we reach our fullest potential, you know, and communicating with us. It's great to hear from God whenever, 24/7. But you being a medium, I have to know, the dead, they obviously don't rest as much,
they're eternal. Right? They're eternal. The energy's eternal. So there's no time on the other side.
Up at night? Do they keep you up?
Yes. Oh God, yes. To the point that I have to treat them like children. You need to go away and come back in Earth time around 9 a.m. tomorrow morning Eastern Standard Time. Come back. Yeah, because we're not doing this now. This is not a free for all. So because once you open the door, it's just like anything else, like a bunch of little ducks. Once you open the door, you got all the little ducks come along. And then they all think that, oh, the door's open. We can go talk to her now. There she is, the big white light. Let's go and the next thing you know, I'm hearing people's names. And then next thing I know, I realize that I do readings on Tuesdays and Thursdays only, sessions. And next thing you know, at 1 o'clock, I have a session. And then right before I get on the session, I'll hear, that session's for me. I'm so-and-so. And then it's like, oh, you've been with me since last night. Now it makes sense. And it gives you a headache and your mind is running. And it's like, oh, what do you want from me? And then next thing you know, it's for the person that I have to read the next day, or I'll get a horrible headache that usually happens. The physical part is sometimes so hard to deal with. You get lethargic. You get a bad headache. Sometimes you feel like the room is closing in on you because the energy is so heavy, because the person that wants to talk has so much to say. And they're carrying so much guilt, maybe anger, maybe frustration. So they next thing you know, you're carrying guilt and anger and frustration, and you're like, why do I feel like this? And then you have to remove them, and you have to cut them off you, and then you have to like send them back to God and say, God, restore them, and send them back when they can come peacefully. When they can come peacefully, I'll accept them. I can't accept them if they're not peaceful.
Right.
I can send them right back. Go back and become peaceful, and then come back and talk to me. You're not going to talk to me the way you talk to your wife. Yeah. You're not going to talk to me the way you talk to your kids. You're not going to talk to me the way you spoke to your husband. You're not going to tell me how you're going to do this. You're going to be respectful. You're going to be peaceful, and then I will speak on behalf of you. But if I don't get that respect, I'm not speaking for you. Just like I am here. The same respect here is the same respect I get over there. Absolutely not. No way. No way. And I respect the dead. Meaning, if they say to me, don't repeat that, I'm not repeating it.
Okay.
Like, they don't want someone to know, then your father didn't want you to know something, and you asked me specifically, did my father blah, blah, blah. And he says, don't answer that, I don't answer it. That's it. And the answer, that's it. I'll find another way to say it, but I respect them. Because it's their business. It's still their business.
Yeah. Now, speaking of that, because you said you send them back to God, right? Here now in 2020, especially now, I feel like more people are more familiar with sage, Palo Santo, you know, and all of these different things to remove negative energy, crystals. So how do you feel about those tools? Are they helpful? Are they beneficial? What do you think?
Well, so basically the best way to describe Palo Santo, sage, and everything else is taking Windex with one paper towel on a muddy window and thinking you're going to clean it. Does that make sense? Because guess who's the problem? It ain't anyone else. It's always you. You're the problem. So when you become clear with you won't need Palo Santo and sage. You won't need it. You'll just light a little tea light candle and ask the presence of God to come in your room and fill it with white light and walk the fuck away. That's all you do. You know, so the whole sage burning, Palo Santo loving individuals tend to make me believe that there's a lot more going on than just somebody who walked in their house that day. Could be their own negative thoughts. It could be their own negative feelings or emotions. They could be going through maybe a horrible divorce or a horrible breakup, which creates negative energy, which becomes scientifically a poltergeist energy, which then makes things in the house feel like feels like they're being under attack. And they're like, Jennifer, I have the devil in my house. I said, no, it's really you. I wish I could say it's the devil, but it's not. It's your negative energy. It's your negative thoughts. It's your subconscious thoughts that are coming out through other areas of your life, albeit your children, maybe certain things. But everybody wants to believe they're possessed, or somebody put brujar on them. Nobody can put anything on you unless you believe they can. Belief again. Belief and faith goes both ways. It's like a pendulum. So if you believe and have faith that they can, then that's exactly what you're going to pull in energetically. You're going to attract everything negative. You know, if you believe that somebody put brujar on you because you can't find a man, if you really believe that, I really want to smack you. But if you believe that to be true, then you're going to believe that to be true, and you'll never attract anyone.
Wow. I love it. Perfectly well said.
Yeah, it's energy. It's all it really is.
Yeah. Now, you work with a lot of people. You have a great following. Congratulations on 10K. Woo,
I know. I'm so excited. I think Natalia's more excited. She's like, we can swipe up now.
You can swipe up now.
Yeah. And I'm like,
so
okay.
Congratulations with that. That's amazing.
So much.
And I just want to find out from you, because you work with so many people.
Yes.
You are working with so many personalities.
Yes.
And because you're a straight shooter, and in all your readings, you tell it like it is. You don't hold nothing back. And I've noticed that most of your readings are women wanting to find out information about their men, or their relationship, whatever. But it's mostly relationship related when it comes to your readings. So I want to know, how do you feel about that? And women in general out here who are single or are in relationships, what is the biggest mistake that we make when we feel like we're kind of at the ending break, and we got to call you and be like, what's going on?
Because they made that person the one when they were there for the moment. Everyone's the one for now. They made that one person the forever person. And what we do wrong is the fact that we tend to fantasize. And this is where sometimes spirituality can get a little bit daunting and a little bit overwhelming for a lot of women, more than men, is the fact that they tell us that we're supposed to have a soulmate, a twin flame. Okay, and all of these different energies, right? So when we meet someone and we have this feeling of home, and we're like, oh my God, he's the one. I know he's the one because I feel like this, this, and this. And remember, God uses the devil as well. Deuteronomy, the charmer, the snake charmer, to get you to maybe pull away from something to learn a very valuable lesson. So I can see all of that very clearly when they're talking to me, and I can see that they are in a transitional part of their lives where somebody comes in to transition them from one part of their life to the other, okay? And a lot of times we women fail to realize that just because someone gives you butterflies in your stomach and makes you feel like you're falling in love and says all the right things and does all the right things and pulls you away from what you're supposed to be dealing with or supposed to be loving, your children, your husband, people of that nature, you have to recognize that draw. That pull is not a healthy pull. And I think what happens is they get caught up in that energy of excitement and renewal, and they want to give birth to something new, and they want to feel good, and they want to, do all these different things. And you see, and you realize like they put themselves in positions sometimes to make someone who comes as a false twin flame or a false idol, the one that they take everything that they have and put it all into that person, and they completely forget about themselves,
right?
To the point that they're like, God's like, what happened to me? I thought I was a man. Like, what's going on? And it's like, I don't care what that woman said. I don't care what God said. I don't care. I want that. That's what I want. And I don't give a shit what you have to say, Jay. I don't care what you have to say. I'm going to get what I want. That's what God loves me. He'll take care of it. I'm like, you don't even know the shitstorm you just brewed up for yourself, little girl. Go ahead. Do your thing. Do your thing. Go ahead. Go run around and be crazy. I was that girl. So I'm speaking out of experience. I was that girl.
I think we all have been.
We all
that
have.
girl. We all have.
And then there's times when I want to rein them in, and then I hear God say, no, push them back. They'll find me. They'll find me. They're not willing to listen. They're not open to receiving. They want what they want.
Yeah,
Their ego is dying for what they want. Dying.
They're stubborn.
They're like, no way. And people that hold on to individuals for longer than they're supposed to tend to become very difficult to work with later on, because now they have no trust. Yeah, they don't trust you. And it's part of that. It's a process.
Yeah. I think you explained that perfectly well. Now let's talk about Mercury retrograde. Because I feel like nowadays people use that as an excuse for bad behavior.
Oh, it's bullshit.
What do you think about that?
I think it's bullshit. I call bullshit on that too. Mercury retrograde is nothing more than an optical illusion in the sky. It's an energetic optical illusion. But is it valid? Yes, because God made the stars and the moon, and he made me. So at the end of the day, it all makes sense, right? So when God created the stars and how they aligned, and the energetic field that we're in, and the planets and everything, because he created everything, right? He did that so that there's resets. Mercury retrograde is nothing more than a reset button that we're supposed to go back and look at our lives and revisit, redo, and redirect. That's all Mercury retrograde is there to do. It's not for you to be an asshole. It's not there to blame it on retrograde. It's not there for you to call your ex-boyfriend and be like, I love you. You know, or your ex-boyfriend to call you and be like, I made a mistake. Great. For you to hang up, block, be done. You know, it's not there for that. It's an energetic reset for us, all of us, in his universal consciousness of how he created his children, to put back and say, what did I do wrong the last retrograde that I don't want to do again? Okay. That's all it really is for.
We got a minute and 18 seconds left. This was incredible. It went by so fast. I got through all 20 questions.
I can't believe it. That's crazy.
The only thing, and I just want to thank you, J. Ray, for this opportunity. This was incredible. You guys, you know, thank you for following me. Thank you for following J. Ray. Thanks for being on this live. I'm telling Jay, all I want is for people to know about my merch, because I need to make money. So Spicy Christians, God be knowing.
God be knowing.
I didn't know how to pin it on my page on this thing, but you can follow it on my page. But I wanted you, J. Ray, to just, we got 40 seconds. What do you want to end with?
What I want to end with? I want to end with the fact that God has definitely, I'm going to help you out. Hold on. God has definitely put me in this world to help, aid, heal, and guide. And I want to do that for every single person in the world. And make sure you check out my J-Ray Live June 5th and June 12th. It's an opportunity to see me live with 22 people in the room, and you get to talk to me the way you're able to talk to me right now. So who's better than you, right? So if you want to have that exclusivity with me, go to June 5th and June 12th and purchase a ticket for J-Ray Live. You will definitely be happy.